So, humans are scared of lots of things. Spiders, roller coasters, weird crackheads outside your local 7-Eleven, ghosts, demons. No matter who you are, you will always be afraid of something. Yes, even I, the incredible, the beautiful, the downright godlike host of yours, is afraid of something, believe it or not. And what is that fear of mine, you may not be asking? What can scare such a mighty, brave, powerful soul? It's something quite simple that I bet you don't think about a lot, yet it would shiver your timbers too. This is Home Invasion. Wait, this is a Roblox video? Oh, wrong script. The Intruder is a multiplayer horror game on Roblox consisting of multiple different gameplay elements, as well as the titular critter himself known as the Intruder. I first discovered this game whilst scrolling for a horror game to make a video on. So, I found it, and asked a couple of friends to join me, some of which you might recognize if you watch my other videos. And eventually, we worked our way throughout the entire game. Minus this new level that just came out, because I'm going to be completely honest, I don't feel like playing it at the moment. There's lore to this game. Am I going to talk about it? No! So, how will I and my band of misfits fare against a spooky home invader?
No lights on.
That's not me.
We're not turn the lights off by telephone.
He's
The first level that our group traversed was the house level.
I'm coming for you.
Marcus is the actual intruder, and they're gonna fight to the death.
I'm coming.
We spawned in a bedroom of sorts, with a phone, a computer, a vent, and a closet. We're told over the phone that there's a criminal near your location, and that you must bunker down and defend yourself for the night. After that, the call ends, and the night begins. Right away, it's clear that this game took much inspiration from the game Five Nights at Freddy's. You know, the game where you and your friends get chased by animatronics.
Run. Go!
Run in circles.
They're right behind me. Oh god! Oh god!
On the computer is a camera system that goes around most of the house. This is your main tool for survival, giving you the location of the intruder and where he is going to end up. Because of this, there are two entry points that the intruder can break in from: the door and the vent. Like in the hit game of And depending on what camera he's at, that'll determine where he enters the room from. If he enters through the door, you need to turn the lights off and run to the closet. After he comes into the room, he'll open the closet door, say hello politely, and then leave. After that, turn the power back on. Now wait, I bet you're definitely asking, can't I just stay in the closet the whole time? Well, just like a normal FNAF game where you could wear the mask the whole time, there's two factors that prevent you from doing that. First off, there's the anxiety bar. This thing will increase whenever the lights are turned off or if you're in the closet, and it will go down if you turn the lights back on or watch the cameras. If your anxiety bar reaches 100%, you automatically die. The other main issue is the awareness bar. Remember that phone that I mentioned earlier? Yeah, that little thing will decide to ring and let the intruder know where you are, causing him to move to your location faster than he normally would. Turn this phone off and the awareness bar will also go down. However, your entire party will die if this bar reaches 100%. So, obviously, there was a lot to go over in terms of gameplay in this segment, and it took my party about 2 attempts to fully get used to it, but I think that each mechanic balances each other out decently well. It punishes cowards and idiots, but is easy enough to understand and juggle. Visually, the game looks pretty okay, and the intruder himself can often come off as somewhat uncanny and creepy in the cameras and even during the closet, unlike something later on. But, all in all, it's a solid first level to the game. But in the end, the intruder was outdone and no match for our team's wits, cunning, intelligence, and extreme skill. We definitely only took one attempt, by the way. Why are you asking?
All the time. It's my bulging muscularity and just absolutely disgusting stature. I'm standing at a beautiful 5'6", like going through doorways all the time. Just massive.
The next level that my team of lunatics and I decided to cruise into was the mall. Basically, hell on earth.
What's wrong?
You didn't buy me the right purse.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Vanessa said you liked red for purses.
You should kill.
We are now tasked with taking a security night shift at the mall, and to our complete and utter disbelief, the intruder intrudes! Aside from the obvious and lovely setting change, there's very little changes occurring here aside from a couple things. First off, there's the sirens.
He's a K-Mate, I think.
Oh, I thought I did that because I was like,
awareness. That raises awareness.
The sirens here are basically the equivalent of the phone on the house level, and it does the exact same thing. Occasionally, the power will flatline, and you will need to replace the batteries in order to get it back up and working. One of the bigger changes are the hiding spots. Instead of a singular closet that can fit a family of 6, there are multiple lockers spread across the room, being able to fit one person per locker, assuming said person hasn't risen from the depths of Reddit. When the intruder nears your location, you must hide in one of the closets and wait for the lights to stop flickering. However, something strange happens. Occasionally, someone will walk into the room, whether it be the intruder, a random guy, or even Agent Boston?
What? Who is it?
oh my god!
I think we know who the imposter is. Oh, who said that? Who said that?
This was genuinely something that caught my party and I off guard when we first played the game, and it's honestly pretty genius. In case you haven't caught on yet, the intruder is able to mimic the appearance of players in the server, which I think is really, really cool. Not that it's gonna get me out of the cabinet anytime soon or trick me, but it's a nice touch. The devs even went the extra mile and inserted false messages from the chat, seemingly coming from the intruder. Except your friend says it. Except they didn't.
Guys, that wasn't me.
I'm feeling
Guys, that
romantic.
Physical.
Guys, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. It was him. Guys, he's so...
I'm over here stroking.
Anyways, that about sums up all the changes, as this night is pretty similar to the house level. Once you finish the level, there's lore?
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.
My guy? Oh! This level kinda sucks. Okay, so quite obviously, it doesn't suck to the degree that Rainbow Friends does, but this is easily the lowest point that this game manages to reach. Which is quite unfortunate because gameplay-wise, this level is by far the most unique out of any of the 4 levels I'll be talking about today. First off, there are no cameras involved whatsoever. You're in an open maze-like mineshaft with 5 generators with one catch. The goofy-ass intruder is down there with you and breaks the generators because public indecency seems to be common practice in this universe. So, now that we have the creative and vastly different premise for this level out of the way, here's why this stinks. First off, any creep factor or scary imagery the intruder provided in previous levels is completely lost in this one. Not only is he completely exposed to the surroundings, but his head is just... What the hell happened here? Do I need to elaborate on why he looks so stupid? Anyways, he runs throughout the maze, and your only defense against him are lockers which are sporadically placed around the map. Your goal is to reach 100% completion when all the generators are done. And this is the second major issue this level has. How do you fix these generators? I couldn't tell you. Yeah, so unlike previous levels that offer a brief tutorial to explain how the game works and functions, this level forgets to do that. Doing this on a computer, when you fix the generators, you have to hold the mouse key down at the exact moment the line goes over the red portion. The problem is, I figured this out by messing with and slamming every compartment on my keyboard and mouse like a freaking troglodyte. Seriously, some explanation really would have helped. Also, on the attempt I actually managed to beat the level, it took me 18 minutes. 18 minutes to beat a single level in a Roblox game. There's hardly any guarantee that you'll be able to keep all generators up and running, since the intruder's busy tearing them apart in a fit of gamer rage. Cough cough, similar to how I'm feeling right now. And the fact that your teammates are going to die are most likely not going to help your situation and potentially take even longer than my first attempt. Oh yeah, and there are certain generators that don't have hiding spots near them where if the intruder comes by, you have to pray to God he doesn't turn around, look in the corner you chose to hide in and decide to kill you. Anyways, when the completion bar finally decides to reach 100%, the intruder will disappear and you have 30 seconds to find your way back to the elevator shaft. I have no idea what happens if you don't find it, but I consider myself lucky that I don't know. Anyways, we're then presented with a choice that, while not really mattering in the grand scheme of the universe, adds a bit of moral ambiguity to this level that I do appreciate. There's someone at the door who has apparently been with us the entire time, but do we know if it's really the intruder or not? You pick whether he comes with you or if you leave him behind to die in the exploding mineshaft, though the ending for both options is virtually the exact same thing. So, yeah, this was a decently frustrating level that, while having cool and neat ideas, gets completely botched by just so many things. It adds insult to injury that the intruder looks this stupid compared to his previous appearances, which, while not perfect in their own rights, I wouldn't blame someone if they thought that was creepy. But here, I'm gonna just move on to a better level.
Do you save him or do you leave him to die?
He's the monster.
Fuck that guy. Kill him. I don't even care if he's a monster. Leave him. Leave his ass. Bro didn't help us at all.
At last, my crew of misfits and I finally escaped the hell that was the mineshaft level and returned home to our local mental asylum.
Guys, this is the game when I forget to take my
Kill
The
people.
psychiatric hospital.
How it feels.
Where we belong, our natural habitat.
Finally,
Schizophrenia.
I'm free! I don't have to take my pills anymore!
As we venture throughout our old home, we're tasked with playing a walking simulator. Yeah, the opening part of this level is legit just a walking sim with a couple of interactions, and it's really not anything interesting to talk about. Anyways, we finally get to an office and back to what we're used to. Gameplay ripped from both FNAF as well as the previous levels. Yay! I'm so happy! I'll get into it later, but at this point, you basically get the drift. Keep the spooky people outside of the room and don't let them break in. Watch the cameras, time the door closing, check the vent, turn off power, blah blah blah, something about a generator, more blah blah blah, and can we talk about how repetitive this game is? Oh wait! Instead of one goofy little guy breaking into your office, you have two! At this point, it just feels redundant to even talk about how the gameplay operates anymore, because it's just the exact same as the previous levels, minus the jerk who installed a couple of spooky mods onto the computer, and now instead of one threat, there's two. Anyways, we leave once the generator is full, and then the intruder finds us in a hallway, and then there's a chase scene. Or I guess he just gets shot. We then find an elevator that leads us to a basement where this weird-looking guy walks by before we escape. So, this level kind of blew a little bit. Yeah, it's not nearly as offensively awful as the Mineshaft level, but damn, is this level boring. Half of the level is walking, and meanwhile the other half is the same rinse and repeat gameplay we saw earlier. And with Mineshaft, at least the gameplay was vastly different, whether to its benefit or not. This just feels recycled and honestly hollow. And I get it, this level is focused on fleshing out the lore of the story. But personally, telling the story through obscure lore shouldn't come at the expense of fun, interesting, or new gameplay to keep people hooked on the story to begin with. Also, this level forced me and my homies to leave our natural-born homes, so that's not very cool. But truly, I wish I had more to say about this level that I haven't said about any of the others already. But I just don't. And I honestly think that's my biggest problem with this game. It hardly ever changes.
Let's begin. I'm gonna make you take this 12-inch.
I got a phone call from an old friend of mine. He says something about going to some hotel out north. He wants me to investigate the basement of that place for a high payment, so I'll do it. After entering the hotel and obtaining the key card to our room, you head over to the locked basement door to place down a device of some sort. Afterwards, you make your way up to your room where the instructions lie on a sofa. Turning on the TV using the remote will begin the first half of this level. As per usual, the gameplay is relatively similar to previous levels, the whole camera system. However, compared to the other levels previously, this one feels a lot more eerie and unsettling, and straight up claustrophobic at certain points. Obviously, the cameras are here, though these cameras serve a little less purpose than they normally do in other levels. In your room is the bed, a television, a radio, and a vent in the bathroom that leads to the janitor's closet. Occasionally, the power will go out and you need to crawl your way through the tight vent and turn it back on. But of course, the intruders are after you now. The intruder here has a much more uncanny and creepy design than previously, where instead of massive bulging eyes, it has a gaping mouth with human teeth. The first issue he poses to the player is actually entering the room. If you hear crawling in the vent, you need to turn off the lights and hide underneath the bed. However, to discourage players from staying under the bed the entire time, he will also sometimes show up down there as well. You'll know when he's there once you hear scratching noises coming from underneath the bed. As long as you stay on your feet, outside from underneath the bed, or in the bathroom, you'll be okay. Occasionally, the TV will glitch out and you'll have to find the remote in a random part of the room in order to turn it off. Finally, there's the skeleton in the closet. His presence is indicated when the radio begins to start making static noises. Once you hear these noises, you need to go into the bathroom as fast as you can and close the door before the music plays or you get killed. Compared to previous levels which use a similar camera format, this level makes sure you minimize the amount of time the camera is used, and keeps you on your toes at almost all times. The threats themselves have somewhat constricting windows of preparation, but are long enough to give fast players enough time to hide. On top of this, the atmosphere is a lot more dreadful in this level compared to the others, which is a good thing. There's a special sense of panic whenever the radio starts playing and you're in the middle of the room, or the TV starts glitching out and you panic to find where the remote is. Not to mention that the intruder is also capable of being in the vent at the exact same time as you're trying to fix the power and get out of there. This first half actually stands very strongly compared to the other levels mentioned earlier, and the horror here is way stronger as well. The keyword, however, being half. Yeah, it seems that the devs decided to try something completely different after the traditional camera segment of this level was finished. You exit the room and open the door to the elevator, which turns into this. You're knocked out, and when you come to, you're in the elevator with, well, if it ain't a freaking pistol! With a weapon in hand, graced by the angel guiding our journey, we make our way to the basement, and the gameplay goes from playing Five Nights at Freddy's to Resident Evil. Soon we hear a booming voice, and eventually we have to blitz our way through a maze full of intruders. Okay. As drastic and bizarre as the gameplay changes here, this format is way more fun than what they attempted in the Mineshaft level. While not nearly as scary as the previous half of this level, shooting at these intruders feels somewhat relieving while also feeling stressful as they continue to approach you. Most of them will see you and just walk towards you, but there's one kind of intruder that will stand still until you shoot at it. Once shot at, this thing will sprint its way to you faster than a train can turn someone into strawberry jam. Eventually, we end up in a room where there are intruder miners harvesting cave material. I wish I was making this up, but no, this is an actual part of the level here. Anyways, in this room, we have to find a key card to open up the door. Once we do this by snooping around some drawers, a wannabe Seek decides to chase us down a hallway into another puzzle room before we finally confront the voice who spoke to us earlier. After her monologue, as well as some much welcome voice acting, we turn to a door to our left before being held at gunpoint by this. The gun has no bullets, however, and we are now in another chase scene as one of her minions chases us down. Once we get to the lift, we see it's an intruder with multiple changing expressions, likely being specific intruders from previous levels. We move a boulder, get the hell out, and the level ends. This level right here solved essentially my biggest complaint with the Asylum level. They actually did something different, and it was good. While they did lean back on the camera gameplay, the cameras weren't the focus of the level. The horror and gameplay mechanics were. And the first half was way scarier than any of the other previous levels. Of course, it's not without its problems. The tonal change from butt-clenching horror to slightly tense shooter is a little strange, but unlike the Mineshaft level, they actually made this portion very entertaining and fun to play. And honestly, I'd rather take a much more entertaining and fun experience rather than a boring or unfun one. I feel that these chases, however, really need more intensity behind them. Whether it be louder sound design or a cutscene actually showing you what's chasing you, it feels like I should be a lot more worried than I actually am. As far as the story goes, I said I wouldn't talk about it, so I ain't saying nothing. And while not groundbreaking, the voice acting was actually a welcome addition to this massive improvement of a level. Going in, I was worried that I was only getting to play the same repetitive gameplay the previous levels have fed me, and end this somewhat promising game off with a mediocre note. But after completing it, I can safely say that after all this time, they're getting their stuff together, and I for one think that's pretty neat. Out of every game that I've talked about on this channel before, The Intruder is the one where my feelings about it are the most mixed. The game has an often gripping atmosphere, eerie horror that strikes deep in the uncanny valley, and genuine promise that it can become so much more than it already is in the future. However, its flaws are just as apparent as its benefits. The gameplay is often way too repetitive, some of the intruders look completely ridiculous, and the entire third level was just an unfun and rather annoying experience I'd rather forget. This game has genuine promise and potential. Oak Deer Inn was a genuinely great level with some awesome horror and really fun sequences. It's just a shame that it took as long as it did for this change to happen to the game. I'm not sure what Satan's Lodge is like since this video's been long overdue and I don't really feel like playing it at the moment, but knowing what Oak Deer Inn was like, I wouldn't be surprised if this level was also changed up for the better in terms of gameplay. Along with being the game with the most mixed feelings, I think this was also the hardest one to decide an actual score on. In the end, however, I'd give The Intruder a 6.5 out of 10. Again, the game's highs are very well done, but the inconsistent nature of this game's quality as well as the lack of originality in its earlier stages really brings it down. But I'm so happy I'm able to end this video on a much more positive note than what it originally would have been. Anyways, that was the video. I was going to have a similar montage thingamabob to the Rainbow Friends one, but there's way more footage this time, so instead of going at the end, it's going to have to be a separate video. But regardless of that, thanks for watching, like, subscribe, yada yada yada, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye!